My name is Harold Eugene Mills. I am 103 years old, and I'm about to tell you something that is going to make every nutritionist, every diet book author, and every doctor who has ever handed you a pamphlet about healthy eating genuinely uncomfortable. I eat the same four foods every single day, have been doing it for the last 45 years. Now, before you close this and go back to whatever you were doing, let me tell you one thing. Dr. Raymond Fosse, my physician of 22 years, sat me down in his office in 1987 and told me, with charts, with numbers, with the full weight of his medical degree behind him, that what I was eating was going to kill me. I asked him how long he thought I had. He said if I didn't change my ways, maybe 15 years. Dr. Fosse died in 2019. Heart attack. He was 71. I am still here. I am 103 years old. I wake up at 5:30 every morning. I walk to the end of my road and back, and I eat the same four foods I have been eating since Gerald Ford was president. I am not a doctor. I am not a nutritionist. I never went to college. I spent 40 years lying under automobiles in a garage in Shreveport, Louisiana, and I know more about engines than I do about biochemistry, but I am 103, and Dr. Fosse is not. So you can decide for yourself who you want to listen to. Here are the four foods. And I am going to tell you not just what they are, but why every single expert in America told me to stop eating them and why I did not. The first food is eggs, not egg whites, not egg substitutes, not the pale, sad, flavorless things they started selling in cartons in the 1980s to save us from ourselves. Whole eggs, 2 of them every morning, fried in butter, which we will get to in a moment. In 1974, my doctor at the time, Dr. Wallace, good man, meant well, sat me down and told me my cholesterol was too high. He said eggs were the enemy. He put me on a diet, gave me a list of things I could no longer eat. Eggs were at the top of that list. I looked at that list for a long time, then I folded it up and I put it in the trash, not out of stubbornness. Well, some stubbornness, but mostly because I had watched my grandfather eat 2 eggs every morning until the day he died at 94. And my grandfather's hands never shook. His mind never went. He walked to church every Sunday until he was 92. And Dr. Wallace, who told me eggs were killing me, died at 63. I am not saying eggs cured anything. I am saying that the people telling me what not to eat kept dying before I did. I kept eating my eggs. The second food is bone broth, not the kind in a carton at the grocery store with a label that says ancient wisdom on it and costs $9, real broth, the kind you make by taking whatever bones are left from whatever you cooked, putting them in a pot with water and a little vinegar and whatever vegetables are getting old in the icebox, and letting it go on low heat for the better part of a day. My mother made this. Her mother made this. Every woman in my family, going back as far as anyone could remember, made this. Because when you did not have money, you did not waste anything. The bones went in the pot. That was not a health decision. That was survival. I started making it myself after my first wife, Cora, passed. That was 1981. I have made a pot of it every single week since then. Dr. Fosse, the one who died in 2019, told me it was superstition. He said there was no clinical evidence that bone broth did anything meaningful for the body. I told him my joints did not hurt. He said that was probably just genetics. I said, maybe, but I kept making the broth. My knees work. At 103, my knees still work. I do not know if that is the broth or the genetics or the Lord's particular sense of humor, but I am not changing anything. The third food is sweet potatoes, one of them, most days. Baked, not fried, not mashed with half a pound of sugar on top, the way my daughter-in-law used to make them at Thanksgiving. God rest her soul, just baked with butter. Now I've been told that sweet potatoes have too much sugar. I have been told the glycemic index is too high. I have been told a dozen different things by a dozen different people, none of whom were 103, about what sweet potatoes were doing to my body. What I know is this: I have never been diagnosed with diabetes. My blood sugar, every time it has been tested, has come back normal. I sleep well. I wake up hungry. I have energy in the morning. Whether that is the sweet potatoes or something else entirely, I cannot tell you with certainty. What I can tell you is that I come from a part of Louisiana where sweet potatoes grow in the ground outside your back door, and people in that place live a long time. Maybe that is a coincidence. I've stopped believing in coincidences. The fourth food is butter. Real butter, not margarine, not whatever they were selling in the 1980s and 1990s in the yellow tub with the picture of a sunflower on it telling you it was healthier than what God put in a cow. Butter. On my eggs in the morning, on my sweet potato in the evening, in my broth sometimes, a small piece stirred in at the end. I was told for 30 years that butter was going to give me a heart attack. I watched the people who stopped eating butter get heart attacks. Now, I understand that is not how science works. I understand that you cannot draw a conclusion from one old man in Louisiana who refused to follow instructions. I am not asking you to throw away your doctor's advice. I am just telling you what I did. And I am 103. Here is what I want to say to you. And I want to say it plainly because I am too old to say things in circles. The people who are telling you what to eat have never been 103. Not one of them. They have studies, they have data, they have years of training and credentials and letters after their names, but not one of them has stood on the other side of 100 years and looked back and said, here is what I actually ate. I have. I am not telling you to eat what I eat. Your body is not my body. Your life is not my life. What worked for a mechanic from Shreveport who was too stubborn to read pamphlets might do nothing for you, but I am telling you this. Before you throw out an entire food because someone with a chart told you to, ask yourself one question. Who do you know? Who actually got old, eaten the way they were told? Because I think about Dr. Fosse sometimes. Smart man, careful man, followed every piece of his own advice. 71 years old. I fry my eggs in butter every morning and I think about Dr. Fosse. And then I eat my eggs. If this is the first time you have heard from me, my name is Harold Eugene Mills. I am 103 years old. I have been eating the same four things for 45 years, and I have more to say about what I have learned in a century of living than I will ever have time to tell you. Subscribe if you want to keep hearing it. Leave me a comment. Tell me what your doctors have told you to stop eating. I read every single one. And if you know someone who has been handed a list of foods they are not allowed to eat anymore, send them this video. It might be the most useful thing you do for them today. My name is Harold Eugene Mills. I am 103 years old, and I am still here.